Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Dan, and welcome back to Adventures in Guitarland. I used to say where we teach you how to play guitar by playing a role-playing game, but we're kind of taking a hiatus from that kind of a thing and just going with teaching guitar. Specifically, over the next few months, I'm going to be going over a What You Can Learn From series. We're starting out with a song by the band called Coheed and Cambria. This particular song is called Welcome Home, as this is kind of my welcome back to YouTube. I've been gone for a couple years due to working on some education. I relocated due to my job, but none of that matters. What matters is guitar playing. So we're going to start by looking at the intro to Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria. All right, so let's get into this opening riff and really kind of break it down. We're going to start by the key, the rake, and the three dyads. First of all, the key. There's your normal E major, but if you notice, I'm fretting it like I would a F. That's because everything is tuned down one half step to E flat standard. That being said, that doesn't sound like it belongs in the song, but that does because we're in E flat minor. The reason we know this is right off the bat, they establish it when they do the rake, which is kind of like a precursor to a sweep. It's not a complete sweep where you would, because you let some of these notes ring together. For example, you just played every note in the E flat minor scale. If it was major, that's E flat major. Here's your E flat minor. So you have your root, second, flat three, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, flat sixth, flat seven, back to root. So now we know for a fact that we are truly in E flat minor. So now that we've established what key we're in, let's look at the dyads they're playing here the second time they play through this. Those are not randomly chosen dyads. Those are major and minor thirds that are diatonic to the key. Diatonic just means it's in the key without having to use an accidental. So since we're in E flat, what we have here is we have D flat major, F minor, E flat minor, back to that D major. All those notes are inside of this key and inside the scale, so there's no issues with them whatsoever. It is interesting, just that they chose those, especially this one, and that'll become important in the next section when we start talking about the verse. But for right now, just understand that's where we have everything. So after the acoustic section, we have to come through and look at the electric section of this, which they're playing the same thing for the most part, only slight variations. So there's your first variation, is they have a pinch harmonic in there, and there's a palm mute here. Pretty much everything else here is the same, aside from adding that pinch harmonic. Now, if you don't know how to do a pinch harmonic, or you don't know the scales, here in a couple weeks, probably next week, I will be doing videos on those particular techniques and theory so that you have a better understanding of what they're doing here and why they're doing it. But now, let's go to the next section of this. All right, so this next portion I like to call a new pedal. And what I mean by that is they're using a pedal tone just in a different way to kind of thicken up the riff, if you will. So instead of playing something like that, they're playing this. And what they're doing there is continuing to play a palm muted pedal tone down here. Even sometimes they go to that B flat, They're continuing to play that while playing somewhat clean the note over top of it. Now in the first portion, what that ends up being is a B flat minor, B flat minor sharp 5, or a B flat 5, B flat sharp 5, however you want to look at it. Then they kind of run up the scale here and continue playing that way. So the key here is to be able to palm mute without necessarily palm muting that second string. So now let's see if we can hear the difference between having that hard palm mute and kind of having a very light touch on it. So everything palm mute. Right? It's kind of muddy. Without it, you can kind of hear it, that secondary melody note, when you don't do that. So that's something to keep in mind. The next thing to keep in mind here is the use of pinch harmonics, and they are using them, and it's fairly obvious to say that they are using them. You can hear it right off the bat on that particular F. That being said, there is one portion where I hear everybody playing this wrong. Everybody misses that particular note for some reason. That pinch harmonic on the B flat, which is creating a fifth interval, basically an E5 or E flat 5, that everybody misses. So listen to the two back to back and tell me which one sounds more like the recording, and actually use a little bit of a critical ear on the recording. Right? That second one sounds right, and the second one is right. All right, so that's going to be it for this week's video, aside from one thing I would like to call attention to in preparation for the next video, and that is the use of that right there, the F minor dyad. That's going to become much more important in the next portion of the song when we get to the verse, as well as even some other portions going down the line. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. Sometime over the next week, I will put out a video that includes both the scale that's being used and how to play it on the guitar, as well as some stuff on palm muting and pinch harmonics, so you can play this a little bit better. Until next time, I hope you're enjoying your journey in Guitarland.